Hello?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey man, how's it going, dude?
Good, chilling.
What's up? Did you end up you watch any of the games today?
I did. I watched all of them actually.
Dude, they were crazy, dude. I was so
Yeah, that shit
all of
was
them. It's
good. I thought the
the
Fnatic one was gonna
Furia.
be yeah. I thought the Fnatic one was gonna be at least go through map 3.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, but they ended up like there's just like these little, like tiny little chokes like here and there, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah,
But dude, they were like fucking neck and neck, dude. It was such a good watch.
yeah, shit was
It was
good.
so fun. But here, let me see. This is a pretty. You did really fucking good in this game, by the way. Sorry, I don't want to waste your time. You
Uh,
did. You did. You did really good. I think you top frag with like 27 kills. I think it ended up
yeah,
being.
that's what I was thinking too. I would probably want to do another one after this with a VOD where I did
Mm.
kind of bad.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Because what would you say is like your weaker half usually? Are you more attack sided or defense sided?
Depends what I'm playing. I feel
Mm.
like actually, I guess defense sided. Even though I'm playing duelist, I feel like
Uh-huh.
I'm better at defense.
I got you. Well, here, let me see. Because what I here, let me share my screen actually.
Yeah,
When I was watching this entire VOD, actually, like when it came to it's really hard to kind of like pinpoint. It's kind of like hard to tweak offenses whenever like I'm watching somebody, but like I think the way that you scale with your team is really fucking solid. I think your aim is insane.
mhm.
Your aim is super fucking solid, dude. Your aim is definitely good. What's your peak rank, by the way?
Right now ascendant two.
Send it to, dude. Your fucking aim is 100% good enough to like get in those like immortal rings, like right now as is, dude.
Thank
Like you're
you.
you're fucking solid, dude. When it comes to your aim, and so even like this, like the like your confidence in like taking fights and stuff like that, the angles and shit that you hold, like they're really fucking solid. Like the only thing I would kind of like help you try to tweak up and like maybe try to like hyper focus on is maybe like your movement right now. I think that might be lagging a little bit behind because your just raw aim
Hmm.
in general is super fucking good. And I definitely want to just like, I feel like you probably shouldn't put too much like emphasis on that. You should probably just kind of like super focus on either movement and like probably like positioning and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And so I couldn't find too many examples, but the one thing that I definitely want to like kind of like work on is, do you ever find yourself like having like this issue where you find yourself
Yeah,
inconsistent? And so
yeah.
there's something I noticed, especially on the defensive side. If you watch this VOD here, I don't know if I'm sharing my screen or like the
I see
actual
it.
things you can hear.
Oh,
Sorry.
you good?
I want to be able to open up this Valo plan so I can kind of like show you.
Okay.
So you might not be able to hear it, but something that I noticed is that you kind of you have a bit of a passive play style, which isn't bad.
Hmm.
But like if you want to like have like the absolute most impact, excuse me, if you want to have that like the most impact, especially on a duelist, is you want to be able to like kind of contest. You want to be like a little bit more floaty, and you want to be like a little bit more aggressive here and there. Not to like the
Okay.
point where you're flying in like Fnatic Durkay, for example, but like a
Uh-huh.
little bit more example. Because for example, like you always here. Let me kind of like show you here, for example, just so you kind of like visualize it a little bit. Because you kinda always find yourself, like, playing a little bit more towards side, and I know it's defense sided, but I wanna try to, like, broaden your playbook a little bit because your fucking aim is really good to the point where you can kinda, like, shift and, like, take over on defense rather than just kinda, like, hoping they don't hit your sight, you know? Because I feel like that's kinda, like, what you might like, end up falling into.
Hmm.
And so, like, if they go to your site, you're gonna pop off. But like, if they keep having to go to the other side, if they're playing like a different play style, then like that your teammates can't really like pick up on, like you're gonna find yourself having like a tough time.
Okay.
And so that's why you might be falling. Sometimes you might fall into like this inconsistency role. And so I want to like, because you find yourself like holding all these different angles. I don't know why this isn't loading up right now. Oh, there you go. And so defense, here's A site.
Hmm.
Whenever you look at this map, there's always gonna be like these here, like the spawn wall in this map is gonna be like it's probably like a big one, like right here, I guess. There's a big spawn wall. It pretty much just like goes through like all of this, and then like where's this one gonna be? It's probably like right here, right? And so the spawn wall is there, like here, and then here. and the spawn wall is gonna be like here, 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 I think, and then here. And
Mhm.
so once you kind of like break down the map like this, you notice that there's like these big like neutral zones in this like these middle areas.
Yeah.
And so once you're watching these pro teams, like you'll notice that a lot of times, like in defense side especially, like these duelists are still being really aggressive. So I kind of want to tweak up your role a little bit when it comes to these guys because these guys are like really interchangeable. Once you kind of like understand how to make an impact on Reyna, for example, you'll be able to like substitute with Yoru, for example, and still make like a good impact.
Mhm.
And so, what do you think these guys' role is when it comes to defense?
Defense.
Mhm.
Try to get a like a one and then play numbers.
Yeah, see, that's pretty good. That's really good. And so, like, that's going to fall into like the bracket of early engagements, but that's not like your only goal in your role. I'd say that's more like a bonus, to be honest.
Okay.
And so, like, the way that I want to like steer you away from that mindset because that's why like a lot of people sometimes like find themselves like having like confidence issues. They sometimes are having like consistency issues because like they always look at these agents and they like put them in like look at them as like these like top fragging like agent roles and like they put like their entire like impact on the game and like their entire like worth on like getting kills, but that's just like in bonus, like those are just bonuses. And so like what I try to get people to kind of like really focus on, especially when it comes to defense, is to kind of you have like three different like roles essentially. And so pretty much like the main one is going to be like just you're like pretty much like in map control, like you're getting these early engagements, but you're also like denying map control. And so in one turn denying map control kind of gives you information because for example, I always these all these maps you can break them down into three lanes. That's
Mhm.
why like that's usually like how all these maps are broken down in. There's a middle lane, there's an A lane, and there's a B lane. And so once you kind of break it down into this way, you'll notice that there's these big like neutral zones, like that are just pretty much up for grabs essentially. And so I want to see you get a little bit more comfortable like contesting these things because you kind of always just like stay in your turf. I feel like that's like a habit that you've like that I saw in this game. Like you guys are
Yeah.
winning and it's like working and stuff. So it's not bad, but like if you want to really take the next step into like making a huge impact and like being like a hard carry duelist, I want to see you kind of like contest it in different areas in here. And so either like peak top pipes, for example, get in here, for example, hold here for like this like upper belt swing essentially, and then like maybe try to get comfortable fighting here. There's all sorts of these different things that you can kind of do because right now you're kind of like something I saw you favor is like leading on top of this
Yeah.
angle,
I like
leading
that angle.
here, you love this angle. You fucking own people in this one, and especially like this one right here too. And so like you're really good at holding these angles, but it's like the matches progress. Like people are gonna get used to it. There's gonna be hard clearing these angles. They're gonna have the second you start going against better players, they're gonna have you to clear these angles a little bit better. Oh, whoops! I just deleted everything. But and so for example, like here's Ascent. For example, there's this A lane, there's an entire B lane, and there's this middle lane. And so you can still break it down like with the spawn walls in mind. Like this is a huge like point of contention. It's like a big neutral zone that it's like up for grabs. It's for anybody to like kind of contest. It's for anybody to have. So for example, B main is also so like these are the three things that I want you to get really comfortable fighting in. And so for example, this is why I have right here it says map control equals info. Because say you're playing Reyna on this map and you kind of like contest the A main,
Mhm.
if you push A main, you contest it, you don't hear anything, you like walk up, get in here, and then you push up, and then you see that there isn't anything towards A main. Like, what does that tell you, pretty much?
Everybody, it's either mid or B.
Yeah, exactly. And so with that, you just get like a huge bunch of information because like wherever they aren't, you just kind of like understand where like they are. And so this is why like I always try to get like these duelists to kind of like float and like try to get really comfortable and confident doing these types of plays. Because if you were watching these games today, you probably saw Durkee, especially like on Haven. This dude was always fucking flanking. This dude was always like pushing up A flanking. This dude was always pushing up C flanking, fighting, contesting all these different areas. And
Yeah.
so, for example, this map, you can also break it down into three lanes. C lane, middle lane, A lane. And so there's like this big neutral zone right here. Short, this entire middle area, this entire middle area, and this entire C long area. And so especially when it comes to duelists, Like, you wanna be able to, like, get really comfortable with contesting all these different places just one way or another, like and you can ask, like, a lot of people to help, for example, because something that, like, the guy that, those guys were doing is they would stun this entire A lobby and have this guy just run up and just get this, like, A long control info,
Mhm.
get it cut off, and then just kinda, like, stay posted up really close, and then go for the flanks if he hears different stuff, just because, like, you always wanna just have information somehow, because if you're sitting here rather than, like, here, for example, like, you're like, if you're sitting here, you're kinda just guessing, essentially. This is just one big question mark.
Yeah.
Because if you're just sitting here and, like, a lot of times your teammates smoke it, you're just kinda just wondering and you're just waiting for it to get hit, when you can kinda just go out of your way and, like, take, like, the reins pretty much essentially and, like,
Mhm.
kinda, like, find out what's going on a little bit more. So you can find out, you can push up close, you can peek short, you can peek up here, maybe get in this little corner right here, even, like, peek garage, try to get timing, find, like, little different timing and just get really comfortable with that. I feel like this is something that, like, once you kinda, like, start applying,
Mhm.
it's gonna help you utilize your aim a little bit more and, like, get you those, like, early fights, get you more chances to get kills, and so, I want you to also be mindful of the fact that, like, there's gonna be people that, like, if they see you pushing, for example, C long, like, this isn't a bad play at all. This is smart because you can cut off the entire C place, like, like, your teammates can, like, hard rotate towards this other area,
Yeah.
but there's gonna be people there's gonna be people, especially, like, Ascendant and, like, lower immortal or even, like, in the higher immortals, there's gonna be people who see you pushing and they're gonna, like, get mad and maybe flame you for dying early
Yeah.
and, like, if we're even trying it, but I want you to let you know, like, do not let those guys steer you away. Like, you should be kinda, like, contesting early. You should be going out of your way. Like, people in Radiant will, like, fucking flame you for not, like, contesting early. They'll flame you for not kinda, like, playing a little bit risky, not looking for these things early, and so that's kinda, like, a big part of the reason why I think map control is super, super important. Like, a lot of it's like, if you see those VCT games, like, a lot of it is just kinda just a lot of their game plans kinda just come from map control and just getting early map control. For example, something that, like, that you saw from, like, Furia doing a lot. They had a Viper and a Harbor, and so something they'd do is they were denying, like, the garage control and this other side control, they're walling off this area right here. They're walling off this area while, like, Harbor was walling off this wall, like, right here, and just denying, like, all the sorts of vision.
Mhm.
Excuse me. They're denying like a shit ton of vision. They're walling here or they're walling towards here, just so kind of like just so these guys don't have any vision, just so you guys can push up because you guys can't hit a site unless you guys have unless you guys have aim and control, right?
Mhm.
And so like what I want you to get really comfortable is something that like Durkay was doing, for example, if they were tossing this wall, this dude would like play a little bit crazy. He'd like walk through the wall, try to contest, just try to make these guys scared. Because the way that I like showing these people the way like I like showing people why it's, like, really good, like, another reason why, like, it's super impactful to be, like, a little bit more aggressive every now and then and know how to, like, turn up the pace is because you can also force out, like, early util and, like, really important util. And so, the way I like showing it on this map is something that a lot of people struggle with is, like, jet dashes, for example. People really struggle on, like, playing against, like, really high elo smurfs that they kinda just, like, jet dash in, just go fucking crazy and just own. And so, for example, like if you're contesting this A main, something you can do is like contest this A main with kind of like the mindset of not like baiting out his util early. So, for example, all you need to do is say you have like an omen, for example, you call this guy to like smoke off this A main.
Yeah.
You smoke off this A main right here, and so just by smoking that off by itself, you can go wide, take some fights, get this guy to peak. Say you kill him one round, essentially. You kill him one round, and then the next round it starts over, you do the same thing, and then he tries to, like, challenge you again. He peeks wide, shoots a couple, and then dashes out just because he's trying to play safer or whatever. The fact that you made him use his dash for A main instead of A site means
Mm.
they just have a weaker sight hit, you know? And so
Yeah.
it's kinda like a micro example of, like, how, like, those early engagements and those early fights can just kinda, like, help you guys have, like, easier sight takes. So he doesn't have his jet dash to actually get in sight and so, like, you can do all sorts of stuff too. For example, you can bait out, like, a rain of flash. Like, you can contest this early, forces Rain at, like, say you kill him 1 round, and so the next round to try to, like, push you off, he's gonna use a Rain Flash, for example, or they might use, like, a Sova drone or something. So, like, if he uses his drone on A main, if you can force him to use his, drone on A main rather than, like, A site, that alone is, like, helping your team, like, massively, and so you can do this towards, like, B main, you can do it mid, there's all sorts of different things that you can do. There's all sorts of different, um like, fights that you could take. There's so many different things, and it all kinda, like, stems from being really comfortable and really confident in, like, taking these fights and figuring out, like, what you're comfortable fighting, what angles you like, what timings you like, 'cause you and then just kinda just going about it that way. So I want that to be, like, biggest point of content from, like, what we work on today,
Mhm.
'cause I don't wanna, like, coach you too, like, crazy. I don't wanna just kinda, like, make into, like, a mini version of me and just kinda just, like, give you a bunch of hindsights. Like, I just the thing that I want you to focus on right now is kind of understanding the value that map control alone can kinda give you. And then from there, I want you to get maybe, like, another VOD. I won't charge you for this like, the next VOD review that we're gonna have the next time.
Okay.
And so, like, I want you to give me a VOD review where you find yourself struggling on the tech side so we can kinda work on that instead.
Okay.
And so but for now, I want, like, the main thing is to kinda just try to have you just kinda, like, focus on these next couple games. Is like, even you can even get on a Smurf too, and just get really comfortable just, like, fighting all these different, like, points of contention. So there's Ascent, and so, for example, Fracture, it's the same concept essentially. It's just, like, on the side. There's a middle lane, top lane, bottom lane,
I hate
and so a
this map.
big point of contention. A lot of people do, but dude, once you understand how to play it, dude, you're gonna fucking like it. And so there's these are the points of contention right here. Like these are like the no man's land, like the neutral zones. It's gonna be this A main, B main, like arcade and drop. And so I want you to get like fight these areas. And so like a lot of times you can just ask somebody for like a smoke either here, like a smoke towards like bottom here, bottom here, like all these sorts of things that kind of contest these areas to kind of like force them to have to retake it, or just to get early info. Because if you push aside, like you just know they're gonna be A, you can get easy lurks. If like they full 5 hit towards A, rather than you guys just kind of funneling out towards here,
Mhm.
oh, whoops. Rather than just like you guys retaking, just playing sites, just retaking from here, you push this area and now you're like fighting from a different angle. Or say you push this area, you're fighting from a different angle. And so like your retakes are gonna be stronger just because you're like comfortable kind of working the map. And so that's what I want you to get comfortable with first. Just working the map, contesting these different areas, like getting up these close positions, find timings, fight this area if you know that somebody's lurking here. Get two people to come like help you walk up and just punish some guy who's doing something. Try to like adapt and try to figure out and try to like that's when you start finding like the chess match of things because say for example, you know how we like talked about earlier on this side,
Mhm.
this A main side, you know how like we talked about like one round that you peaked it and you just completely sat down a jet pretty much. Or yeah, you sat down a jet, you like own this jet. And so, like, the next round, like, they're gonna, like, be using flashes or something. Say you're playing against, like, a KO, and they might just try to, like, pop flash, and then so you just play anti-flash to try to, like, counter, the play to kinda, like, shut down the play, and that's, like, kind of where you can start, kinda, like, counter stratting and kinda, like, get into, like, the whole chess match of Valorant. That's why I really like this game because that's kinda, like, what a lot of, like, IGL, like, calls kinda, like, work on. Is just people trying to counter, like, what I just did last time to
Yeah.
try to counter, like, what I'm gonna do again, and it's just kinda just, like it just snowballs from that, and that's how you, like, find yourself being able to just fucking play more consistent and, like, just being able to kinda, like, plan ahead pretty much and just start, like, paying attention to what they're doing, how to, like, counter that, and it really just opens up your gameplay, like, a lot. It's gonna, like, just a lot of things are gonna start clicking, it's gonna, like, broaden your playbook, and so, for example, Split, it's the same concept. Here and here essentially. There's this B lane, middle lane, and A lane. And so something that I noticed, at least for like the split game, is you, for example, you kind of just like lean towards like one lane essentially, just kind of just playing A site and just kind of like anchoring. Like I didn't see you floating too much. I didn't see you go B often on the split match or not split match, the icebox match.
Xbox? Yeah.
I think I only saw you go there maybe once. I think maybe
Yeah.
not even.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that I usually play A most of the time.
Mhm. You went mid once too, but you kinda, like, played it passive. I want you to get really comfortable with just, like, taking all these different, like, fights, all these different angles. So on this map, like the point of contention is gonna be like this area right here, this A main area, this ramp area, this entire mid area, and this B main area. And so once you get really comfortable, kind of like lure them into like a false insecurity, fighting early, contesting early, like, you can start, like, playing a little bit more back and then, like, finding different timings that get close to if you kinda, like, get a handle, like, what util they're using. Or, like, say you're kinda, like, going against a team that's, like, really heavy, just has, like, a super aggressive comp, they can start, like, fighting towards, whatchamacallit? That these guys are just, like, running mid, for example. Say they got 4 guys, and they have, like a really just W key comp. They have a Brim, they just Stimmy, they just sent 4 people they just sent 5 people on mid pretty much. They just sent 5 people, and they full send it, and they're always just, like, bulldozing B, and you guys keep trying to fight it, and it doesn't work. And so once you kinda understand when map control gets really good, is you can understand that, like, you can give this space and take the space that they're giving, because if they're just fighting towards mid, you that means that's, like, a green light for you to just kinda, like, be like, "Oh, hey, fuck it, let's take B main." You
Mhm.
guys take B main, you guys have spawn too. You guys have this entire spawn area. And so, like, say these guys push up, they aggress, they push B, they have this full plant and stuff. They plant, some guy leaves up here. But since you have B main control, essentially, these guys are pretty much like already in a pinch because you kind of like understand like you kind of understand like how like map control is fucking key. I always try to preach this. I always try to tell people that's like one of the most important thing. And so that's like it gets you like a really good retake. It gets people to have to like figure out, push you to kind of like find out you're there. And so it works in like all these different little microcosms. So like once you kind of start working and looking the game in this way, it's I feel like it's gonna like turn up your game sense a lot. And so, that's, like, what the main thing I wanna like, I want you to focus on. I don't wanna, like, dive too deep in other things, because honestly, there isn't really much for me to kinda, like, pick up on this VOD, if I had to be honest. Because like, I feel like you're pretty good at, like, playing off your teammates. You're pretty solid at, like, the timings and, like, peeking off angles and stuff, like, with your team, flashing for your teammates, scaling in, like, for them and stuff. Like, there isn't too much like, that I can, like, tweak up other than, like, there's, like, small hindsights where it'd be like, "Oh, you probably should have held this instead of this," but, like, I don't, like, try to focus too much on that. I try to, like, focus on, like, big see, like, your fucking aim is nuts, dude. I try to focus on, like, big, like, concepts and stuff. So, like, if I spot anything for this next VOD that we watch
Mhm.
of, like, how you're how you're scaling with your teams or, like, how you're playing off your team and how you're setting them up, if I see anything that, like, that kinda, like that I can definitely get like, pick up on and we could tweak up on. I definitely want to address it, but I want that to be like the main thing because this is like the only like small tweak that I would. It was like the small. I wouldn't call it like an error because you guys did win this game and you did play really well, so it's not like it's bad. But once you start going against better teams that know how to like take sight better, some people, like some teams that are like kind of scale better together. Like there's once you start getting against better like players, there's gonna be times where like playing like this doesn't work, you know.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be sometimes where you're gonna have to adapt depending like how the people play, and this is gonna help you be a little bit more consistent. Because if you notice that like they're just like playing super passive and like playing like this super aggressive like probing everything isn't working, that means that's good because you can kind of like play off that because you're finding out how they play a little bit like you're finding out how they play sooner rather than kind of just like waiting and like hoping how they play. And
Yeah.
so like the Lotus, that's why like I felt like I was really good at this map like really early on and like I had really good games on. I think I dropped like 30 the first 4 games that I played on this map. And it's because I kind of just had the same idea, like the same concept. There's just 3 lanes on this map and these like the biggest points of contention. And so like the first time I played, I just played Reyna and I was just going all over the map. I was just considering all these different lanes, probing like fighting for all these different excuse me, fighting all these different places, fighting here, trying to get a timing, holding an off angle here after like trying to get like a stun. I'd hold like a deep off angle here. Like I do all these sorts of things, but they all kind of just like focus on like trying to like have these guys just trying to like make these guys work for the space for this like space essentially. Like you can't just like give it up for free and just let them have like all the util in the world just to kind of like smash onto C. You know? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's kind of like the biggest like thing that I think we that I want to work on. And it kind of like works on like a lot of these duelists. And so the good thing about it is once you understand like how like the importance of like map control in general, which I want to like help you. I want to help you be a better player rather than just a duelist. And
Yeah.
so once you kind of like understand like your role as like how to like play for map control, you're gonna be able to just kind of like fill and like do all these different agents because that's why like CS:GO players can just like swap any agent and be perfectly fine, and all these pro players like they can just play any agent and still like have really good impact. You don't find people other than like maybe Baby J or someone who stinks that kind of like that are like that are like that aren't comfortable on any like every agent pretty much. Like a lot of these guys are gonna be really comfortable on any agent. You can put them on. You can put somebody who's never played fucking Harbor, for example, but he'll probably have a decent time just because he's gonna know what to smoke early, like how to go about it. And so, for example, Brimmy, like if you're playing Brimmy, you're forced to fill, and that you know that like if you know that you can get like you gotta contest C, something you can do is just kind of like smoke up here, for example, bank a fucking Molly just for like the run out and just contest this, take it by yourself. There's a lot of different things you could do. And so, for example, even on Killjoy, something you do if you notice that they're just taking A little bit freely and you want to say, like, you know, fuck these guys, let's try to contest this shit. You can be like, you can just like get your teammate to smoke. You can toss like an instant molly for like the run out here. You get the teammate to smoke deep, toss a molly here, walk up, set your turret close to kind of like hold like a top and bottom angle with it. There's all sorts of different things that you can kind of like set up on different agents, and it all kind of just stems from just how to like work the map rather than like kind of like work the players, you know, rather than just kind of just like go for kills pretty much. And
Yeah.
that's the once you kind of like understand how to like win the game by playing the map rather than like playing the map, planning the bomb and shit like that. That's when you start having like easier rounds. You're gonna start having easier games. You're gonna have to start winning more games because like a lot of times a lot of people just like kind of just put their entire play style on just frags essentially, just better aim. Whoever taps the head better wins, and so like it technically is right, but it's not gonna be like it's gonna be it's just gonna be a lot more like volatile. It's gonna be random pretty much. It's gonna be way more 50-50. And so like this is once you start looking at the game like this, I think it's gonna like propel your fucking your gameplay to like a next level, dude. Because your aim is nuts, dude. Your aim is so solid, especially like watching you like hold these like wide angles like sheriff, and you're just confident and winning the fights, dude.
Hmm.
Like your fucking aim is 1 billion% good enough to get you an immortal. Like, is this your? Have you played like, dude? Look at that. You're fucking nuts. Is this like your first FPS shooter, or have you played any the games before?
Well, I played CS:GO, but very casually.
Mhm. Okay. What was your highest rank on that game?
I didn't even play rank. I played a lot of gun game.
Oh, for really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really casually. What about
Yeah.
other games?
Nah, not when it comes to
Is
FPS. COD in
is your
PlayStation,
first
but
like mouse and keyboard game?
for FPS, pretty
Hmm.
much, yeah.
I guess you. But your fucking aim is cracked like already because you're like carrying in ascendant lobbies. Like you are the best fucking player in this lobby, like by far. Like I can easily tell. And so like once we kind of like tweak up like your kind of like the way that you look at the game, and we
Hmm.
like broaden up your playbook, so to speak, you're gonna start farming like even more. You're gonna be easily be able to like kind of like read the map and just start carrying like a little bit harder because that's kind of like what I was like saying that like once you start looking like playing the map rather than like playing the players, you're gonna start doing a lot better. Because kills are bonuses. Like if you position yourself right, kills will just fall into your lap for free. Especially like if you can like understand like different timings and different angles and stuff. So I
Yeah.
want that to be kind of like the first thing that we like. I want it to be kind of like a brief thing that we like touch up on. I don't want to take up too much of your time this time,
Mhm.
and I want you to kind of bring me a VOD, and we can start getting onto it like as soon as possible. When it like as soon as you can bring it to me, honestly.
Yeah, I'll work on it
Because
this coming week.
perfect. Because around this next week, after like Tuesday, I'm gonna be open like whenever. So
Okay.
just if you can shoot me the VOD like like somewhere around then, like I'll be free like Wednesday, Thursday, like literally whenever. So we can just talk. Maybe we can go into a live game too, so I can help you kind of like pick up on stuff.
Okay,
Because I
cool.
want to start like learning how to do that, like to get better at live coaching. If you're interested, it's up to you.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I think VOD review is good enough. But yeah, dude, I'm excited to see you progress because I know for a fact you're the type of player who can progress fast, dude. I can easily see you being in like those Mortal 2 and Mortal 3 lobbies, like it's like instantly, like really fucking fast,
Thanks.
like without a doubt in my mind. I'm excited, dude. I'm excited. So I'll probably just keep it at that. Okay, I could probably like send you like maybe like a footnote or maybe just like a picture so you can have like a like I don't know if you like yeah, I can probably just like send like these like brief like notes that kind of like give
Yeah, actually,
you
yeah,
something to
that'd
kind
be
of
good.
fall back on
Yeah.
and just kind of like give you like an example. Like this is like this type of stuff on. I'll do that in a second, like after we finish. And I want that like
I'm recording also, so that'd be cool.
off real.
Yeah.
Ooh, perfect. I think that should be good enough then, because I'm actually surprised at how well I articulated this time. 'Cause
Mhm.
sometimes I have a bad time articulating it. But yeah, dude, because I watch your guys' attack side. It's really hard to kind of like
Yeah, the thing that I
kind of
noticed when we
hard
were
to like
attacking, I felt like we were just kind of sending it, with no real strat in mind, but it was working. So
Yeah, exactly. And dude, that's like the thing is like anything like anything around like immortal and below, like I feel like that always happens. And so like that's why people always find themselves like having such a bad attack side. So for here, I'll go to Sent for example. I'm gonna go attack side. And so that's why like people always find themselves having like such a bad time and like especially on these maps that are just super defensive sided, quote unquote.
yeah,
Because people for example like, well, I'll just do it this way again. There's so many times I fucking there's nothing I hate more than seeing people just like 5 men just full send it towards like the same side as like five
yeah,
and like insta hit the first side they set the sights on because like whenever you do that, like you're just running into full pieces of util. You're just running into just everything. There's usually going to be like a 2-1-2 setup most of the time whenever I see in rank. That's what everybody does, just 2-1-2.
hmm,
And so this guy just insta rotates. This guy goes here, and this guy goes here. And so like the second like there's anything going on here, say you're going against like a brim. Oops, here I'll change the thing. Say you're going against like a brim and like a KO, for example. The second like these guys hear anything, like there's gonna be a smoke going down and a molly going down. And so like if you guys toss your smokes, you guys just get like stalled out on. There's so much shit going out on. And so like for like something that I have right here is something that I think is really, really important to kind of like help you out on the tech side that I can just kind of like send you. I just for like duelist, but yeah, you're in duelist too. And so pretty much so something that's super good is to kind of like to stop this to have easier sight takes is how like the last time I mentioned like baiting out the jet util just because like it helps you guys have like a easier sight hold.
yeah.
It works vice versa too. So like if you can kind of like contest these areas early as like a duelist, for example, if you can contest these areas as a duelist and say like you're going against like an enemy jet pretty much. Oh, whoops, you gotta do this. Uh, do this. So you're going against like an enemy jet pretty much. You're going against an enemy jet, and this guy's like fighting this different area. If you could push this guy off somehow and make this like a question mark for these guys and just wonder if they're gonna hit, it's gonna have to like make this guy dedicate. It's gonna have to make these guys like stay towards A, two people A, because a lot of times people just full send like the first site to hit. So like a lot of times like you can just like work the map just by kind of like what you call it, denying info essentially, and just kind of just baiting out util pretty early, baiting out util for like the site hit, just kind of like slowing down is super super like super good that people just don't have the patience for that I've seen. And so that's why like early engagements can like force rotates. And so like if you like force this guy, you get a pick, it kind of like gets you like towards the other side. And so something that I noticed that like you're like really comfortable with doing is like lurking and
Mhm.
just kind of like taking mid control on yourself and like just like trusting your gun skills and your mechanics to do shit. And so that's something that I thought was really good. Sometimes one time I saw you lurking towards A, I saw you lurking towards the middle and stuff.
Yeah.
But like it's kind of like hard like hyper focus on stuff because one of these rounds for you, like for example, like you guys went to B and then your Sage dies flank with bomb by herself.
Oh my god, I got so mad.
So it's just like it's hard to like kind of like even like try to like focus on that like sort of stuff and try to like tweak this stuff up because that's just like shit that you can't even help. I wonder if it was this one. I wonder which one it was. They just get like she just gets pushed by two different people and stuff, and like you like your fade wasn't using too much detail, so like it's this round right here. You just like pushing up and Sage is by herself with bomb and stuff. Like your fade still has every single piece of util,
Hmm.
and she's not using anything to kind of like clear out to make it easy for you guys. Like there's a guy who's getting like early picks too, and so he's not like clearing out these like early like info like these places because like whenever you're playing it like initiators for
Yeah, I
example,
called for it
you want
too.
yeah, and so that's why like it's like that's why like attack side just kind of sucks, and so that's why like I don't want to like touch up too much because the way that you're playing was good. You're entering for your teammates. You're going in, clearing everything, flashing. You're fucking like looking for these fights, like scaling up. But then like your teammates dying, your fade isn't using any util, and so it's kind of like I don't want to like spend too much time on like little like hindsights and shit about it
Yeah.
because it's not like really worth it. But the defense, that's something that I definitely wanna talk about, and so that's the that's pretty much what we talked about.
Hmm.
But but yeah, when it comes to I could probably just still send you this just because, like, it's a good, like, rule of thumb to kinda, like, have, like, in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
like, how to have, like, an offensive impact. Because, because especially when you're, like, duelist, like, you for example, on what is it? Like, Haven, for example. Something that was, like, a big part of, something that was a big part of, Fnatic's default was just taking this A lobby control or just bottom B control or garage control. They were getting those a lot. So they'd always get, um, what's his name? Durkay just playing super aggressive, pushing these guys off mid. So like these guys right here don't have any information. These guys are forced to like back up towards this area and just sit here or sit here. So like they will never know if you guys are hitting B. So they have to play like safer towards here. There's gonna be some guys cheating and leading towards B to try to help just in case if they do hit it fast because they were hitting it fast. And so just being able to get like control of this site, for example, just as a duelist and just being able to do that can be like super beneficial to have your teammates just have an easier side towards A because you're kind of like forcing rotates by denying info. It's all sorts of different stuff that we can like talk about next time. Once
Yeah.
you like like actually see you playing, like whenever I see opportunities for you to have a good lurk, I can be like, right here, this is the perfect time for you to lurk. This is the perfect time to do stuff. But I feel like on this attack side, there wasn't like really anything to kind of like go off of. I feel like it was just kind of, it's just you guys just like pushing shit. There wasn't, like, any team play at all, dude. I
Yeah.
feel like
Not
there
at
wasn't, like,
all.
any calm. There wasn't any calms either. It was just I think it was just mostly you. I
Yeah.
feel like you're the only person calling out.
Yeah.
No, it literally only was you calling out. I don't think anybody out of, like, Sage is, like, the only person I saw, like, really speaking, like, a lot, to be honest. But yeah, dude, I just want that to be, like, the only thing. We probably don't have to it yeah, I probably don't have to take up too much of your time right now, but, like, I'm super down for, like, that next session, like, as soon as possible.
Yep.
And then we can kinda just keep building from there, you know?
Yep. Yep. Sounds good.
Perfect, dude. Because I'm excited for your progress, dude. I know for a fact that you're gonna be, like, the next type of person that I can make, like, a video about. Because you're 100% the type of person that can get really good fast.
Thanks.
No problem, dude. But, yeah, man, I'm probably gonna just keep it brief, keep it there, just for now. I'm sorry if it wasn't too long.
Oh, it's all good.
Uh But yeah, dude, I appreciate you coming to me. And so, like, if you have any like questions or anything, like my inbox is gonna be open whenever you want. Just shoot me a message, literally whenever, and I'm open to. And so I'm excited for the next session, dude.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
No problem, dude. Have a
All
good
right.
one, all right?
All right. Later.
Later.